see some rare shit apparently that we haven't seen before. So don't forget to like, subscribe, comment some shit you want us to react to next, like some recommendations. We're on the road to 100 subscribers, so let's get there, man. It's been a minute. What's going on with you, nigga? Let's get there. Yeah, okay. Let's get into it. Let's go. God damn it, why the fuck are you blasting the fucking
It has
volume?
been said that there are more
That's
animals
fake
that
as
have
shit.
already gone extinct compared to animals that still exist today. Many of these extinct animals disappeared only recently, and we're fortunate that footage of them still exists.
You're looking too loud.
Today we're going to be looking at 10
That's
rare
your fault for
videos of
blasting the
extinct
fuck out of
animals. Make sure you stay tuned till number 1. It is a tale that's sure to tug at your heartstrings. Number 10. The Bubble Hartebeest. The Bubble
what the
Hartebeest
fuck
was a
type
type
of
of
name was-
antelope that
what
was
is
native
it,
to
Bubble
Africa,
Hartebeest?
just north of the Sahara.
Wait, aren't you scared?
They had a
of
coat
these
of short
I
fur
don't like
that was a
cows.
uniform sandy color except for gray patches on
like
the side of
cows?
its muzzle and the tuft of its tail, which was black. They were 3.5 feet at the shoulder and had U-shaped horns when viewed from the front. They were also social animals, described as living up in herds of up to 200
Wait, these are
animals.
extinct? Yeah,
The Bubble
200.
Hartebeest was domesticated by Egyptians 3,000 years ago for food and sacrifice. Now it's extinct because of overhunting in the 1900s.
Of
It is
course it
thought
is.
that the
Good
Bubble
job.
Hartebeest went extinct in 1923
Good
until they
job.
were found in the wild. Then in 1950, the French hunted them to extinction. This poor species just can't catch a break. When
They're
the French
dead now.
conquered Algeria in 1847, entire herds of Bubble antelopes were killed off by the colonial military, who considered them as pest animals. By the middle of the 1860s, the animals were restricted to the mountain range of northwestern Africa, near and within the Sahara Desert. The animal went completely extinct, unfortunately, in Tunisia in 1902, Morocco in 1925, and in Algeria around the same time.
Damn, that's hell long.
Number 9.
Hell long.
The Baiji. The
What's with these
Baiji, or
names?
Chinese river dolphin, lived for 20 million years in
Wait,
the
Chinese
Yangtze River,
dolphin?
China. The Baiji's demise was
Chinese river
rapid and
dolphin.
shocking. It went
It's
from
just
a
a
healthy
dolphin.
population of some 6,000
in
animals
China,
to
China,
extinct in a few
China.
decades. That might sound like a long time compared to us humans, but look at it in terms of evolution. It's nothing more than the blink of an eye. Before China's industrialization in the 1950s, there were an estimated 6,000 Baiji living in the Yangtze thriving ecosystem. They migrated up and downstream. By the mid-1980s, surveys revealed that only an estimated few hundred Baiji survived. By 1990, the
What
Baiji were
the
critically
fuck
endangered.
is a Baiji,
There
bro?
were only
I'm
thought to
trying
be
know.
100 left, and in 1997, only 13
This
individuals
is just
remained.
a dolphin that was trapped in a river, bro.
The
That's
nosedive
name
in
of the
Baiji
dolphin.
numbers was fast and shocking.
dol-
The primary factor driving this decline was probably unsustainable bycatch in local fisheries, particularly rolling hook longlines, together with wider scale habitat
Why is your
degradation.
mouth so fucking long?
The Baiji was declared extinct in December 2006, following an intense, carefully
Damn,
managed
that's
and
recent
thorough
as hell.
dedicated survey of the entire
2006 it was
Yangtze
done.
River.
Mm-hmm.
This study failed to spot or hear a single specimen.
Why
There
they
have been
killing
no
these
verified
off?
sightings since, and so the only conclusion we can come to is that the Baiji is gone forever,
Fisherman.
extinct, and humankind is entirely to blame.
Damn.
Number 8. The Hawaiian Crow. This native Hawaiian bird was declared extinct in the wild in 2002 when the last 2 known wild individuals disappeared. Some birds
Hawaiian
remain in
crow.
captivity, and between 1993 and 1999, more than 40 birds were hatched in the captive breeding program. The birds were released into a lightly
that just
managed
sound
habitat
like,
and
bro.
closely monitored,
A
but
crow
releases were
that,
abandoned in
that lives in
1999
Hawaii?
because of increasing mortality.
because it
The
doesn't
reason for the
exist
bird's
anymore.
extinction is
It
not
did.
fully
It
understood,
did.
but researchers speculate that an introduced disease such as avian malaria might have played a significant role in the species' decline. However,
Wait,
the
they got
flame of
malaria?
reviving these
They could
species
get
was
malaria?
never extinguished, and in 2017, thanks to the years of work put in by conservationalists, 11 of these birds were released at the Pua Makala Natural Area Reserve. And while this revival is still fragile, it seems to be going well so far. In January 2018, the Hawaii Department of Land and Natural Resources announced that all 11 Hawaiian crows are thriving in the wild. That's about more
Wait.
than 3 months after their initial release. Here's to hoping that Hawaii will be filled with these amazing birds once again.
Are they
Number
is it
7.
Really, is it not extinct?
The West African black rhino.
They said it's
The
thriving.
West African black rhino is one of the more recent species to go extinct,
fuck with
and it's even more tragic when you find out why.
Bro, I don't
Once
know
found
why.
in several countries in
I
the
don't know how
southeast
the
region of the
Balkan
African
approaches
continent, it was
They're blind
officially
as
declared
fuck.
extinct in
I don't give a
2011,
fuck, they're
with the
still
last
black. If
confirmed
they
sighting of a
see me-
live specimen back in 2006. Habitat loss is considered one of the many reasons why this animal went extinct, as well as sport hunting. But the main reason of the eventual decline of the species was poaching. These animals were hunted illegally for their horns, which in Chinese traditional medicine are believed to hold magical powers.
That's
Rhino
why,
horns
bro.
are considered a cure-all and are used to treat a variety of illnesses,
These niggas
including
die of magical
fevers, impotence,
powers.
and even cancers. The Chinese believed in its healing properties so much so that in the 1950s, Chinese leader Mao Zedong encouraged the Chinese people to use them instead of Western medicine. Oh gee,
What?
thank you, Mao. Because you didn't want to pony up for some flippin' aspirin, now you got an extinct species. All be the praise to you. Number 6. The Laysan Rail. The Laysan Rail, a tiny 6-inch long flightless bird, was first seen in 1828 by Russian sailors on Laysan Island.
And it went
Fearless and easy to catch, Laysan rails foraged on the ground for flies, moths, and scraps of meat from bird carcasses. They also reportedly fed on petrel and tern eggs.
Can they fly?
Along with the impact from guano mining on
Oh,
Laysan
they
Island,
can
which
fly.
began
Why
in
would you be running?
1890, the introduction of
Oh,
rabbits in the
big.
1910s
These are
decimated
6 inches
native
long.
vegetation, leaving the rail
6 inches not
susceptible
big
to
at all.
extinction. In an effort to create insurance populations, rails were captured and released on Liansky Island, Pearl and Hermes Reef, and Midway Atoll. Although Laysan rails initially thrived on Midway Atoll, they became extinct with the instruction of black rats via Navy ships in 1943. The last Laysan rails were seen in June
That was big as
1944.
fuck.
A 1945
Oh.
survey did not find
Doesn't-
rails on
oh,
any
no.
of the other
She looks
islands.
like an emu from there, bro.
Number 5.
It's a
The
camera
heath
fucking
hen.
angle, bro.
The heath
The what?
hen is a unique eastern
hen?
subspecies of the greater prairie chicken that quietly blinked out of existence in the early 1930s despite decades of unprecedented effort to save it.
Is it
During
chicken?
colonial times, the heath hen ranged through scrubby coastal habitats from Maine to the Carolinas. However, European settlers brought increased hunting pressure and suppressed the fires that had kept coastal headlands free
What
of
is
large
that shit on his
vegetation
neck?
for thousands of
What
years.
do they call
This
it?
altered the bird's preferred habitat.
I don't know.
By 1870, heath hens had completely vanished from the mainland and remained only on Martha's Vineyard, a tiny island off the
fat
coast of
chicken,
Cape
bro.
Cod. Officials on Martha's Vineyard banned hunting and established a
I like
preserve to
chicken,
protect the
bro.
remaining bird's habitat on the
They're
island.
violent.
I love chicken.
At first,
They're
things
so
appeared to be
retarded.
looking up. The population
violent
increased
as
from
hell,
less than
bro.
100 to around 2,000 by
You know, I ain't
1916.
been there one.
However, the
I've
heath's
seen what they
hens'
did
good
to people.
fortunes wouldn't last.
I've
In
seen
May
what they could do,
1916, a
bro.
devastating wildfire swept through the heath hen breeding grounds. The following year, the annual census turned up only 150 birds. And although through bad luck, most of the survivors were males, leaving the population dangerously imbalanced. Inbreeding and
That's
diseases
wild, though.
carried by domestic poultry took a toll over the next decade. And in 1927, only 13
They
birds
got
remained.
disease from inbreeding.
Then 2 in 1928. And then in the spring of 1929, only a single survivor returned to the blind that biologists had set up at the remaining heath hen's mating ground at a local farm. The lone survivor, whom they called Booming Ben, was last seen in March 1932. Rest in peace, chickens. Rest in peace.
That's why I was going to say that, bro.
Number
Rest in
4.
peace, chickens.
Yeah.
The Golden Toad. The Golden
love
Toad
toads.
was a
Aren't these
small
poisonous?
toad that was from a small, high-altitude
They look
region
like
north of the
poisonous
city of
alcohol.
Monteverde, Costa Rica. An endemic species, it could only be found in pristine cloud and elfin forests. The
Oh,
golden
my
toad
toad
was
is
first
this
described
black
by
color,
scientists in
fucking
1966,
poison.
but soon after the toad's discovery, its population began to dwindle. In 1987, between April and July, researchers noted nearly 1,500 adult toads scattered between a few shallow pools around the forest. But in 1988, scientists found only one toad, a male in the same area. They documented 9 more a couple miles away. The last sighting of a single golden toad was on May 15, 1989, and it has since been classified as extinct. The toad's restricted range, climate change, and overharvesting for the pet trade contributed to its extinction. Many have searched for the golden toad, but unfortunately, none have been found. Number 3. The Spix Macaw. The Spix Macaw
I
achieved
thought they were
on-screen
finna say-
fame in 20th Century Fox's
Also,
Rio
this
as a
bird-
charming parrot named Blue who travels thousands of miles in an attempt to save his species.
It went extinct?
However, a recent study revealed that the magnificent bird is now extinct in the wild. Kind of an ironic little twist, isn't it?
They look
That
The
really
movie
is
portrayed
ironic,
the
bro.
real-life struggles of the Spix Macaws. It followed the journey of a male
Always
race in
standing on that
captivity who
fucking
traveled from
Twitter
Minnesota to Rio de Janeiro to
I
mate
always
with the
wanted
last
this type of
female of the
bird, bro, like as a
species.
pet.
It ended happily with the two characters falling in love and having a baby. But sadly, the reality is much, much grimmer. According to a CNN report, the last Spix macaw most likely died in the year 2000, 11 years before the movie was released. It's believed that deforestation is the main reason for the extinction of this bird species. Now it's time for today's best pick. Today we're going to be looking at the most famous piece of footage ever taken of a now extinct animal, which was once considered the greatest of all marsupial predators. Number 2. The Tasmanian Tiger. On the 7th of September 1936, only 2 months after the species was
this is that
granted
one
protected
animal.
status,
I don't
Benjamin, the last known Tasmanian tiger,
It
also known
opens
as the
his mouth, shit, it's
thylacine,
terrifying.
died from exposure at the Beaumaris Zoo in
Opens his mouth,
Hobart.
It
hella
looks
wide.
like a dog.
While it is estimated there were around 5,000 thylacines in Tasmania at the time of European settlement.
Why
However,
should-
excessive hunting combined with factors such as habitat destruction and introduced disease led to the rapid extinction of the species. The last known shooting of a wild thylacine took place in 1930, and by the mid-part of that decade, sightings in the wild were extraordinarily rare. Authorities from scientific and zoological communities
Bro,
became
this
concerned about the
animal's
state of
not
the
scary. He looks
decimated
like a dog,
thylacine
bro.
population
Opens his mouth,
and pushed for
bro.
preservation
Looks like a
measures to
dog
be
with stripes
undertaken,
on the ass.
leading to the species being
what they call
protected. Many expeditions have been organized to search for the thylacine in the Tasmanian
opens mouth
wilderness,
so
and there continue to be
fucking
many reported sightings
just
by
scared
people
of
who
everything,
believe
bro.
the animal is still about. Despite this, there is no conclusive evidence of the continued existence of the thylacine, and the animal has been officially extinct since 1986.
I saved the best
I don't
for
think
last,
it
but first, I have a quick challenge that takes only 5 seconds to complete. If you can leave a like and subscribe
It is
within the
voice
next
change.
5 seconds, you'll get
He
10
did.
years of amazing luck. Just try it. It really works.
What bullshit?
Number 1. Lonesome George. Lonesome George was the last of the Pinta Island giant tortoise, a subspecies of giant tortoise that can only be found on Pinta Island in the Galapagos. For 4 decades, the 100-year-old reptile served as a conservation icon on Ecuador's Galapagos archipelago. His subspecies hunted for meat and tortoise oil all but vanished in the 1900s. His plight
Why
as
is
the
he
only
so
known
big?
member of his subspecies led to a series of ill-fated attempts to provide him with a mate. But despite the best efforts of conservationists and the presence of 2 female giant tortoises from a close subspecies sharing his enclosure at the Charles Darwin Research Station on Santa Cruz, George remained a solitary creature. This apparent aversion to females is what earned him his nickname. He finally died on June 24, 2012. The only thing remaining of his legacy is a lifelike mount at the American Museum of Natural History in New York City. Although his death marks the end of the purebred Pinta Island tortoise, but there is hope that they will survive in some form. At least one first-generation descendant of the subspecies has been found at the Wolf Volcano on neighboring Isabella Island. Here's to hoping that these magnificent animals can make a comeback somehow.
Wow. What a
Which extinct
big-ass
animal would you
turtle.
like to make a comeback?
They're not
Let us know in the
turtles, bro.
comment section down below.
Shit is huge,
Want more
bro.
videos about
Ton of
unique and
tortoise.
amazing animals? Click on
Same
any of the videos
difference.
you see on the screen. As always, thanks for watching, everybody. See you later.
Same fucking difference. It's a turtle.
I didn't even say.
Wow.
Bro, to be honest, I wasn't expecting like these type of animals to be honest. I was thinking like big animals like T-Rex and shit.
So they were catching T-Rex on camera.
Oh no.
You stupid fuck.
I forgot it was the video where they were catching shit on camera, but I thought it would have been
Nigga said T-Rex.
like a fucking, what do you call those fucking mammoths and shit?
They're catching mammoth on camera?
Somebody said, some people
Bro,
claim
you know
they've seen
mammoth.
shit.
People